the brakes on the 727 broke. Now, if you were listening earlier, the playing pull means that teams of 20 people pull the 727 about 25 feet and go for record speed. Well, the brakes broke. They can't run the airplane. They got to get it fixed. So a good time was had by all. Money was raised for the U.S., though. That's the important thing. And as far as we're concerned, we had a wonderful morning, and we're going to be out again tomorrow at the arena here in Ontario for the Sowing Seeds for Life walk. So we keep busy on KCAA.
Slam the door on FeePay. Forget everything you know about selling online, because I'm here to tell you about a new and revolutionary way to buy and sell on the internet. BuySellMakeOffer.com is here to shake up the web. Tired of paying those outrageous fees? You'll never pay a fee with BuySellMakeOffer.com. For a monthly membership package starting at only $7.95, you can list and sell up to 50 items. That would cost you nearly $100 with the other guys. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and sign up today.
As the owner of my business, I wear a lot of hats. I'm accounting, sales, and so much more. But I don't know marketing.
Let Dex Media be your marketing department. Our team can create a digital plan for you with everything from search to social. Contact Dex Media, that's DEX Media, to get found, get chosen, and get talked about.
Whoa, that's a job for cleanup, which would be me.
Call 844-230-3436 or visit dexmedia.com today.
Kcaa.
We found the problem with your car.
And
Turns out the carburetor differential modulator is out.
what?
And while we were digging around in there, this thing fell off.
Stop. There's no automotive repair nightmares at Diego Martinez's 5-Star Automotive in San Bernardino. 5-Star Automotive, where you'll get a great experience, and home of the $15.99 oil change. That's right, just $15.99. They specialize in transmissions, brake repair, AC, and many other repairs, all with a lifetime warranty on parts and labor. Diego knows when your auto needs 5-star attention, it's never convenient. He offers a 12-month interest-free auto repair loan on major auto repairs with no money down. He'll even throw in free towing and a 10% discount for his neighbors in the 909 who work for the city and county of San Bernardino. Call 909-387-0770. That's 387-0770. Your neighbors at 909 West 2nd Street in San Bernardino.
For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda.
Welcome to I'm Mad as Hell with Lloyd Brock and Greg Simpson. Now, if you want to share your anger, this is the station, KCAA, every Saturday at 12 noon. If you're mad as hell at the government, politicians, IRS, your bank, a car dealer, or the court system, let us know. You may want to be one of our in-studio guests, or just call in and vent that anger. 1-888-909-1050 or 909-888-5222 locally. We may not be able to resolve your individual problems, but we will give you a forum to share your anger with our listeners. Now, join us at KCAA 1050 AM and at kcaaradio.com or check us out at Ustream. Now, here's Lloyd and Greg.
I'm mad as hell! About what today?
Oh, you just name it.
Well, name it and claim it or what?
It's everywhere on the news this week and the papers, everywhere.
Okay.
I'm mad as hell about sanctuary city bills, of the sanctuary cities bill, you know, that failed.
Yeah, I heard something about it. What is
well,
it?
by 6 votes.
Oh, wow.
But they had Kate's Law connected to that. They didn't separate the two on the bills.
Okay.
And they're very important, but the sanctuary cities, it's kind of like an island. And they say, we don't have to listen to anybody else. We make our own laws. So, you know, they ignore the ICE requests for prisoners, you know, or people that they're going to deport.
Just kind of like Sharia law, kind of like
No,
No,
that's
not
a
that, huh?
that's a little bit worse. But
Okay.
here in California, we have a sanctuary state.
Okay.
So any city in the state can deem itself a sanctuary city.
Okay.
And right now we've only got 15 of the major cities, but and these are counties.
Who determines the?
San Bernardino County is one of those sanctuary cities.
Oh, of
I mean,
course, I wouldn't have doubted that.
No comment.
No comment. Okay.
No, but you got the cities may opt out. In other words, they don't want to enforce this. They don't want to become a sanctuary city, so therefore they've got that option. It's okayed by the sheriff's office, and it's their decision to do this.
Okay.
Now we had now in Kate's law, see that was connected to that bill, Sanctuary Cities bill, and right now they're going to separate that, and they said Obama's not going to veto that one.
Okay.
And
why?
that bill is that, and it says that if you commit a crime and you've been here before and deported, and you come back, a minimum of 5 years in prison.
Okay.
Which is not unreasonable.
No, it's just
But
kinda,
it says they've already released thousands of prisoners out of our jail system with the last attorney general. And it says nearly 1,900 of the offenders ended up being rearrested for another crime within the 8-month period since they were released.
is there certain crimes that these people
Well,
commit, or are they across the board? They commit all
There's
of them?
7,491 new charges after the release.
Oh, boy.
So, I mean, it just keeps going on. It says more than 1,000 or 60% of these illegal immigrants were not rearrested by ICE, but remain at large. And see, the whole thing is, if they're supposed to notify ICE, immigration,
Right.
if you have somebody that's illegally in this state.
Right.
They don't do that. And even if they have a crime against them, even a felony, this is, as I say, you saw the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Okay.
Sanctuary! Sanctuary! Oh, I got to have sanctuary. Well, all of these things are, that's what it is. You can't touch them.
Okay.
And there's that protection. And they say, well, we got to build a wall of protection around these people so ICE can't interfere, immigration can't tear apart families. But they're forgetting that a lot of them, these are criminals.
Right.
And just like they want to release drug offenders, from prison to give more room, they're some of the most violent people out there.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
No.
And hopefully somebody can do something about that. But write your congressman.
Write somebody,
it may not do any good. But the ACLU estimates that sentencing requirements would cost $3.7 billion over the next decade, not including funds to construct 12 additional federal prisons it said would be needed. In a letter to senators last week, the group said one-size-fits-all approach is a contradiction to current criminal efforts to reduce incarcerated individuals. So that's not going to happen. And we've got to have Kate's law,
Right.
where these people re-enter, but nobody's paying any attention to it. These laws have been on the books for years.
They've been on there for a long time,
Yeah.
and nobody's enforcing them. Huh?
Now, what are you mad as hell about?
Well, I'm mad as hell about folks in the insurance industry or any industry. Blue Shield is this guy. He's the CEO of Blue Shield. His name is Markovich, and he was making $2.5 million salary last year. That's okay, that's pretty high, but still it's within reason. So he raises all the premiums, and then he pays himself this year $4.6 million a year.
Well, the board of directors had something to do with it.
Well, I'm sure that the board of directors have all to do with it. I'm sure, and they, they have a voting deal to increase their. I think it was some $25 million cush for their raises. So I'm sure some of them got raises too.
Oh, of course.
So make it.
Of course, they made billions of dollars.
Yeah, millions of dollars, millions and millions, and then they instead of passing along savings. They're a nonprofit, so they should be passing a lot of this stuff that they pose as nonprofits. It's really their profit. Their money
Well,
to
at least
spend
they
for these
could
salaries.
reduce the premiums,
They
right?
could they could reduce the premium substantially. Instead, they're charging more and try to be indigent and use Blue Cross or something. It doesn't happen.
Well, I don't think they're a true nonprofit, and somebody mentioned the other day they were going to be investigated to find out, make sure that they're nonprofit, because
Yeah, but there's so many of them that say they're nonprofit. There's some of the hospital entities say they're nonprofit.
Well, where does the money go? It
Yeah,
goes
where
into
does
the
this money
pockets?
go? It goes into their pocket, of course. You get all kinds of monies, all kinds of perks the government gives them, and where do they go? Who accounts for them? Where's the accounting?
Well, I think I saw the list recently, and there were Blue Shield was way down there on customer satisfaction. And, they're not happy with it, but what can you do?
They used to be great. In the 60s, they were a great insurance company. I mean, they did.
But I'll bet
way
you in the
beyond.
60s, the CEO wasn't making this kind of money.
Making $2,000 a month like the rest of us, and being high paid.
Okay, we're all ticked off at that one, but today we have a guest, Mike Harding, in the studio here. And what are you mad as hell about, Mike?
Well, I used to be mad as hell. I used to be the go-to guy for the San Bernardino International Airport.
Okay.
That's an entity out here that I don't know. They had some kind of a concert combined with an air show the other day. Occasionally, I have to go away and make a living. So I was over in Phoenix for about the last 7 or 8 months. I come back. I used to be the guy that was down there at the board meetings. I was given my 3 minutes, and I used to be able to do a lot of damage in 3 minutes. So I became persona non grata because I was hitting them with California Public Records Act. I was getting back into their background of people that were just unemployable. They had no business being there. They were friends of the director, whoever that happened to be at the time, or the acting director. I got rid of one, A.J. Wilson. I ran him off. But he'd already gathered to himself $1,600,000.
Wow.
Now Mike Burrows is back in there again, as he was always an assistant, shadow kind of a guy, nice guy, clean-cut kind of a kid. Went to some know-nothing college somewhere. And now he's making $250,000 a year out there. And I would assume, since I've gone away 8 months ago, he's probably making $1 million a year by now.
Well, wasn't there some
the thing
kind
that I was most mad about is the airport board is made up of the mayors of the surrounding 5 or 6 little cities. Anyway, I would start to ask questions about how did these people become mayor? Now, if you want to find hen's teeth, that's going to be easier than to find out the background to these people. I don't care if it's Josie. I don't care if it's Jim, Evers, any of these people that used to be there. You cannot find it. You cannot find out a resume, and I have to submit a resume 15 years background before I'm an aircraft inspector, helicopter pilot. I have to, every year, if I go to another job site, I need to submit a 15-year address and qualification background to wherever I get hired at or I'm on contract to. I wish they would do that, because I was sitting down at the San Bernardino City Council meeting one time. Everybody on there had a nameplate in front of them, and they had everybody there except one person. I still don't know who he is, where he came from, what he voted on, because he had absolutely no resume online. So I usually get upset about these people that are our leaders, and they don't have any qualifications. They don't have any background. They got one guy that's been sitting on the city council, and he was a postman for 30 years.
Well, that's we have politicians in Washington that don't have any background.
That don't
check.
even have
no,
don't even have that background.
They couldn't pass that. I think we got a president that one guy said that.
Don't even know where he's from.
And what I would use the California Public Records Act which I invite everybody to go out there, look it up, learn how to use it. It's as good as the Freedom of Information at the state level, at the city level. I don't care if the guy was a dog catcher. I can nail him with the California Public Records Act.
Now, they black it out?
Spencer was the first guy out there, right? Spencer, the one that went to jail?
No. Spencer was an individual with a very a strange background. I'm the guy that the FBI excuse me, folks. I'm the guy the FBI came to as a witness in regard to Spencer, his activities out there, and the way that he was helped out in his endeavors, and the amount of money. Now, Spencer probably walked with about only $7 million out there, all total, and they still haven't brought him to trial. And what was that? He was arrested, 3 years ago?
And he made bail, and he's been out ever since?
Of course he has, because there's nobody left to except for me, and he owes me $220,000, so he stays back in Florida, and I doubt if he'll ever make another appearance.
What does the city have to do with this? Do you have any
Here's
insight?
the deal. You remember Jim Penman?
Oh,
he was always a city attorney.
Yeah,
And you got the DA, and I forget what his name is now. He's going to be running for state senator or something like that.
Yeah, it's Mike Ramos.
Yeah, Mike Ramos. That's right. Yeah. The thing about when you folks have a problem, when you have a gripe, when somebody's committed, when a politician is corrupt, everybody seems to know it. You can put all this information together, but you ultimately have to submit it to the Attorney General's office, the State Attorney General's office. They have an investigator sort of look at it, and what they won't tell you is they don't have to go forward. They can look at it. I had a case against Spencer. That thing sat there for over 3.5 years when the law said it was supposed to have been acted on within 180 days.
There's politics there.
That's beyond politics. So anyway, my suggestion is, folks, don't, solve your problems the way Lucky Luciano used to solve them, you know? Get a sledgehammer, do whatever you have to do, a kneecap here, a kneecap there. I'm in the middle of something right now that they think I'm threatening. Just don't ask for assistance from anybody. Do your research, find out what's really going on, and then there's somebody in the community, quote, end quote, that can take care of the situation.
What happened to, they have no airlines coming to that airport, right?
They have spent well over $200 and probably $280 million out there within the last 22 years, and they still don't have an airline. They're not going to get an airline. You've got Ontario right now is going to break free of Los Angeles. The airlines aren't doing that well themselves.
What about maintenance? They have maintenance facilities there.
That was my specialty out there. I told them dozens and dozens of times I had all the contacts I could fill. They have a world-class hangar complex out there, or they did, and they're sitting empty most of the time, or they have these run-of-the-mill rat-bite little organizations that come in there, hold it for 3 months, and then they have to bow out because they can't afford the rent. Another thing was I was always on them about, didn't anybody over there know how to write a lease? Well, it turned out they didn't know how to write a lease, but Spencer did. I got a hold of one of Spencer's leases, which was a 187-page document.
Wow.
The last lease that I saw I could have wrote the thing on a napkin at Denny's. It was such an amateurish kind of a thing, and the attorney for the airport sits out there. What they really got mad about was I started looking into what are these people getting paid. So I got the billing. They call it I forget. It's called a detailed. Well, anyway, it's what they bill for. I got all the pay records for how much people are getting paid out there. Now, they've got a security force out there. Have you ever seen anybody out there?
No.
They've got 39 officers. Now, these guys are all double dipping. They're off from some agency or they're retired off of the Riverside Police Department, or maybe San Bernardino. They got an active duty San Bernardino police sergeant out there, or at least he's assigned out there. They've got no fire support out there any longer because those guys ran out of money too. We lost our fire chief. I think he rocked off and went over to somewhere else. Anyway, I was able to dig into some. They had 2 fire points, and they call a fire point out there is where these fire control systems need to be charged. In other words, they have to have water in them. They have to have retardant in them. I found 2 because they'd fired the guy that was responsible for that before. Anyway, we found 2 of those. I took them to the city fire department, and after a hassle of anybody wanting to look at it, had a nice assistant fire chief finally said, yeah, well, we missed that one.
Oh, yeah.
So what was done about it, I still don't know, because once they start their own investigation, then you've got to be hands off until they reach a place where they have a report. Well, they never reach a report because somebody else does something else. And they like to be firefighters. They don't want to be running around checking on these things.
Well, the airport evidently never had a performance contract, did they? Otherwise, they'd be out of business, wouldn't it?
They wouldn't know what a performance contract is, and they don't have any way of checking on anybody. I had to do the reason I ran A.J. Wilson off is he came in there with no resume at all. They had an announcement, myself included, 16 other people with extensive airport backgrounds put in for that airport director's slot. They had a star chamber kind of a thing where they had a closed session. Suddenly, this guy's name came up. All the other people, I went in there with the California Public Records. I wanted to know who had put in for those jobs because outside of myself, I knew another person that did. These resumes and these letters had disappeared. They were never there. They were shipped off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
They were shipped off somewhere.
Yeah.
And Josie and her buddy come up there, and they had not proudly announced that Mr. A.J. Wilson is going to be the new... A.J., I looked into his whole background, is a farce. He didn't do half the things he did. It had nothing at all to do with aviation. He was a city manager. He got ran off from St. Louis. He got ran off from Portland, Maine. He got ran off. And he actually got fired a month before from Pomona. None of this was brought out until I looked into it. It took me over a year to get people under the California Public Records Act to start coming forward. What a pant load this guy was. So when I brought this out on my radio station, on my radio program, they came down here and they had a letter of cease and desist, which I said, fine, go ahead and sue me if you want to, because the primary defense against libel or slander is that what you had to say was the truth.
Yeah, that's right.
So they shut their mouth, and I went over and got a job elsewhere. But folks, that's taxpayers' dollars that's going to waste out there. And I think the payroll is probably upwards $4-5 million a year for nothing.
I saw that executive lounge there. It's beautiful. I don't know how much they spent on that, but it's not in use, is it?
That executive lounge would have worked. Spencer was all behind that, but again, Spencer, he would find the contractors. He wouldn't pay the contractors. He'd skim off the top his share of a finder's fee, and then he'd go on his merry way because Spencer, I had to follow him through 17 different corporations, and they weren't legal corporations. But anyway, I did. I got a court order. I got a judgment from a federal court. And Spencer waltzes off into the sunset. He still hasn't paid me because you can't name it out. The guy is very sharp, and he's got a couple of sharp attorneys.
And he stayed out of jail this long, huh?
Oh, he's not going to go to jail. He already served 4 years in Club Fed way back when, before they hired him.
Oh, geez.
Hey, Mike, I was going to ask, is that San Bernardino Airport a competitive airport? Could it compete with Ontario or L.A. International? Does it have all the facilities, the runways, or all the stuff to be a competitive airport, or no?
No.
No, okay.
Can't do that because actually San Bernardino is in the flight path of LAX and Ontario.
Oh, okay.
You're just duplicating it, and they tried to have DSL out there one time, and they left. Now they bragged about the sheriff's department was moving over from Rialto. They bragged about it moving over there, and what a big concept it was. They're going to put together a $44 million hangar, but the sheriff's department is broke. So they went back to the airport to loan themselves money through a bond bill that they can give to the sheriff's department, that the sheriff's department can give back to the airport.
Oh, boy.
It's taxpayers' money, and
a waste.
Watch the fingers. They never leave the hand except for one.
Yeah, we just, I just can't believe that the city would allow that to continue.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, look here, folks. When I walked into the station down here, we're in the Kcaa Mall, which used to be one of the loveliest malls in the area. It was stuffed. It was filled. I'm looking out there at a parking lot. I took photos. Not a soul out there at a parking facility for what? Maybe 1,000 cars. Mm-hmm. I could go skateboarding in there, and I wish they would. I wish they'd open up for a skating rink or skateboards or something like that, because there is nothing down. You could fire a cannon down here in San Bernardino, you wouldn't hit anything.
Yeah, but the city owns it, right? Yeah, they do.
So don't get me on that, because it was Valdez or whatever her name was. It was her son that wanted to be the attorney that would go after all these non-present landlords in that regard, and they were going to pay him some gargantuan. They were going to assure him some gargantuan amount of money, and that's why Jim Penman was up in the air. And they finally, all the politicians jumped on him, and he says, "I don't have time for this." You know?
Yeah, I remember that.
He's in private practice now.
Yeah.
He's out of there, huh?
Yeah.
They had. Any rate, we're about time for our break, but I'm going to come back and talk more about this. We have, as they say, somebody's responsible.
Yeah.
Listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
Do you like craft beer from microbreweries? Well, I'd like to tell you about Oak Hills Brewing Company in Hesperia. All of their beers are brewed on site from the very best ingredients. Yummy, yummy. Typically, they have between 12 to 14 beers on tap at any given time. And backed by popular demand, Mango Orange Wheat Beer. A delightfully flavored beer with orange and mango juice. It's a little light citrusy beer with a tropical twist. You can also check into some heavier beers, Grapefruit IPA and the Belgium Triple Redemption. You can also bring the kids. Oak Hills Brewing Company offers 3 crafted sodas, yummy root beer, zesty ginger ale, and cream soda. The kids will love them. You can also visit the tasting room and take the behind-the-scenes brewery tour. Oak Hills Brewing Company in Hesperia. They're open 3 days a week, Thursday from 3 to 9, and Friday and Saturday from 1 till 10. Go up right after you hear the show. For more information, go to their website. It's oakhillsbrewingco.com. oakhillsbrewingco.com. You'll find a map with directions and a list of all their beers. To find the best craft beer in Southern California, just remember Oak Hills Brewing Company in Hesperia. Take the 15 up to the 395, pass 2 signals, and turn right on Poplar. Oak Hills Brewing Company, Hesperia.
Welcome back to Mad as Hell.
We're coming back. Yeah, we're back, and we're talking to Mike Harding about the San Bernardino International Airport. Yeah.
Don't forget that. International Airport.
And you've been fighting them for some time, actually. But the incompetence and things going on over there. Did you ever meet with the city council? And tell them
well, you're not allowed to meet with city council.
You're not?
No.
I thought the public was. Aren't they your
you're
city
allowed.
council?
You're allowed to go to the city council meetings.
But you can't speak?
Yeah, you're given 3 minutes.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Now I can say a lot because I've rehearsed, and I know what action items to address immediately.
Yeah.
What's their response to you going up there?
They can't do anything. They'll say something like, "Thank you for making your appearance, and we're going to take everything under consideration. We'll get back to you."
Call me in the morning.
And
Classic answer on any regard, or some of them, since I named names and told them what they were doing, the responsibility and the fiduciary responsibility. That's a nice word. What you have to do is you have to develop a vocabulary that strikes fear into politicians. One of those is fiduciary responsibility. And another one is malfeasance in office. That one scares them and gets
I'd like
their
to
attention.
see judicial misconduct.
Yeah, judicial misconduct. That's a good one. Yeah.
We know somebody that's guilty of that.
Yeah, very
but
much.
No, you can't do much of the.
You probably know
when
it.
they get to be a judge, they're a judge.
Yeah. That's
Well,
what I'm talking about.
And to a certain extent, they have another radio program on the other sister station over there. They have what do they call them? Something of justice. Operator Heroes of Justice or something like that.
Yeah.
And they get some of the most outlandish kind of people on there, and they don't let you call in, believe me.
Well, talking about call-ins, tell the people what numbers to call.
Yeah, call us and let us know what you're mad as hell about.
Locally.
Locally, call
909.
909-888-5222. And long distance is 888-909-1050.
And if you know anything about this, please let us know.
Yeah.
Any updates? What happened to that salvage situation over at the airport? I saw it at the end, where they were salvaging airplanes. And was that part of their operation?
Well, what they do is out there, don't forget, they've got a couple of kids out there that came down from San Mateo. One of them came in, Mike Gibbs came in with a very spurious kind of a resume. I looked him up. They had heard of him, but they weren't quite sure what kind of training. But he came in as airport manager, and then he brought down his lady friend. And when he went up to director of or assistant director of aviation, I don't think the guy's got a pilot's license. Anyway, his lady friend goes in, and now she's airport manager. But when I started to look into her background, nothing there, nothing there that she would allow. She wouldn't give any addresses or who to talk to or where she'd worked at, what she'd done. Anyway, that got to be the case with almost everybody over there because they started having assistants to the assistants of the assistant to the executive director. And I got on one time because I know they had 2 very qualified black ladies over there because I used to chat with them all the time, and they never got promoted. They didn't go anywhere. They weren't the assistant to anything. I think they were lucky if they got the title of analyst because I was asking them jokingly, "What did you analyze today?" And they'd sort of chuckle. Everybody's over there. Everybody wants a job. Everybody's got to get paid if you've got a family. So nobody at the airport in the administration is going to make any waves at all.
Nobody filed a discrimination suit? I mean, that's
Well,
today.
no, they're not going to make any waves over there because they never know that they can let you go for any reason. They don't need a reason.
Well, that's true, but then you come back and file a
Anyway,
case.
the only guys that ever did any work out there, they had about 15 guys on the maintenance crew, and they were out there chopping weeds. And believe me, they got a parking lot full of weeds because there's never been a car parked in the parking lot. And they must have space for, 700 cars out there?
Yeah.
If you want some fun time, just drive out there and tell them you're going to have a picnic.
What do they need to do? What do we need to do with this? Close it and start something else?
Well,
if I was, now I've got about a year of law school.
Okay.
Just enough to make me dangerous.
Dangerous.
And I've been a paralegal for some of the biggest law firms in Los Angeles. But you have to have something that you can to get your teeth into, and don't forget, you have to exhaust your administrative remedies. That means you have to go at them, and they just absolutely refuse to give you the documentation to prove what they didn't do as opposed to what they did do. So in that regard, if they keep their mouth shut, they're doing. It's like they all just take the Fifth Amendment by being quiet. So anyway, you're not going to get any kind of a city, state, or attorney general's office to do much. I mean, they're very busy,
Okay.
and they themselves have been politicized. The FBI's been politicized.
Of course it has, but you got Norton Air Force Base. They spent a ton of money out there resurfacing that before they closed the base.
Sure.
I don't know what condition it is in now, but
well, now they started what's called the Inland Empire Development Agency, and then out of that's what they turned Norton Air Force Base over to. I had to go all the way back into how they did that, which was very interesting, by the way, and how they got control of it. The only bug in the eye was that the Air Force had turned it over to them, but a certain segment of the airport inside the fence, as they say, outside the fence could be used for anything they wanted to. And they did. They sold it off to pet boys, people like that. But inside the fence, it had to be used for aviation and aeronautical activities only. So that's where they developed this thing called the San Bernardino International Airport Authority. The bug in the eye was that all the people that sat on one board got $100 for being there. Then they had a little 10-minute break. They changed hats, sat back down. They changed little storyboards in front of them. Then they got another $100 for being there on the airport authority, and they all patted each other on the back, and none of them knew a damn thing about aviation. So the one guy they did have down there, he was barely on there. None of them had served in the armed forces. None of them had flown. They couldn't tell you which end of the aircraft to board if it wasn't for a stewardess. And here these people are going merrily along thinking. Now, here's one thing in their favor. I looked up and followed Josie Gonzalez. This lady, she not only belongs, she's on 14 to 17 different boards. If she makes one appearance, she can't do it but a week. She has to run around these 17 different boards. She's on every one of them, has to make a comment. In the meantime, she's got to kiss babies, open up little museums, open up little libraries. This woman is followed around by a little entourage of 5 different people surrounding her, and she moves along like a herd of ants as she goes from one meeting to the next meeting to the next meeting, handing out placards, little plastic boards and little T-shirts and warmy, fuzzy kinds of things, and yet she's very powerful. She's got the knack. She's got the talk, and she can walk the walk. But looking into her academic background, you don't find much there. Except for the family owned a Mexican restaurant at one time, so they probably still do.
That's been the history of San Bernardino City
Council.
Well,
I used to run around with Joe Suarez because we could drink beer out there at his store along the railroad tracks out there. Suarez got mad about something, so he said, "The hell with it! I'm going to run for city council," and he did. And even Joe used to sit there and get so mad because there was just a limited amount that he could do, and he was on the city council.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. But if an entity, this authority, doesn't make any money, how long can it exist?
Yeah,
it can't, and it doesn't now, except if the taxpayers keep on pulling the taxes out of the taxpayers' pocket. Except for this, you're left with you're left with a community of welfare recipients that don't pay taxes. The rest of them move off to Arizona or somewhere.
No, you got a sanctuary city.
And then you've got a sanctuary city.
Yeah.
Except for Redlands. I noticed that Redlands on the news yesterday, they were getting tired of the bums sleeping on the street over there. So now they won't allow anybody to sit or lay or sprawl on the sidewalks during the hours of such and such to such and such. Yeah. So I think Redlands bills itself as the Beverly Hills of the Inland Empire, and it is a nice little place over there, but it'll probably go its own way also.
No, well, I live there.
I mean, if you go to Colton, where can you shop in Colton?
Well,
I don't even think they have a mall over there, do they?
Yeah.
I mean, Wyatt Earp lived there for a while, and that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have a
Rialto? Are you going to go to Rialto for anything?
No.
No.
You going to come down here to San Bernardino? For what?
I was born here, but I don't live here.
Well, they got, if you're mad as hell about these kind of things,
speak up.
Fortunately,
let us know.
Well, here's what happens. I used to go to all the city council meetings because if they wouldn't listen to me at the airport, then I'd nail them at the city council level. But here's what you have to do. You have to sit through about an hour and 45 minutes of them pushing paper around there, what they're going to do with this. Most people are concerned about the bums peeing in the parks or speed bumps. And the fire department, they always want to raise. So if you're going to wait through all the way to public speaking time, they've always got some grandmother up there that's trying to read her notes over the top of her glasses, and she forgets about halfway through what she was there to talk about. Anyway, by the time you get there, people are leaving because they don't have time. They've got to go do something else. So in that regard, like I say, you barely know who these people are sitting there in front of you because they won't give up their resume.
Well, we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll continue with this story.
Yeah,
and maybe
what
some
a
other
story, you know.
So give us a call if you got any information.
Is it that time? Your car needs a smog check? Well, check out Quick Smog Check in Montclair. They guarantee your vehicle will pass or you pay not a thing. That's right. If it doesn't pass the test, what the heck? You don't have to pay. So what's the reason why you're not calling them? The number 909-626-5436. You can also drive right down there now. 5438 Holt Boulevard in Montclair. They're open 9 to 5, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Do it now. No wait smog checks at Quick Smog Check in Montclair. 909-626-5436.
Kcaa. Use the power of the sun and save money on your utility bills. Solar power has saved many residents as much as 75% on their utility bills. But finding a good contractor can be very difficult. Look no further. Euclid Energy Performance Contractors is a family-based business in Upland. They not only do solar panels, they also do windows, insulation, heating and air conditioning, and also custom remodeling. Remember this number, 909-285-4406 for a free energy evaluation, 909-285-4406, or check out their website at www.eepcontractors.com. Euclid Energy Contractors guarantee all their work and products. eepcontractors.com.
Once again, here's Lloyd and Greg.
Yeah, that is EEP, isn't it?
Eep.
Hey, I got to make an announcement.
Yes.
Yeah, tonight
Okay.
at Mill Creek Cattle Company and Diamond Jim's Saloon in Mentone, the band, classic rock band, Itchy Huevos, will be performing. They start about 8:30. They'll be playing all your favorite classic rock music. And don't remember, go and tell them you heard it on KCAA radio. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
That's Mill Creek Cattle Company, Diamond Jim Saloon, and Mentone. Right on Mentone Boulevard. You can't miss it.
What are
Now
they
I
called?
done. Huh?
Itchy
Huevos. Good. I mean, they played at casinos and things like that, but, they're very good and excellent. So anyway, we're back talking to Mike Harding about the airport scandal. I guess you could call it that. But
It was. It's been in the newspapers many times as the airport scandal.
Is it about to go away? Is it about to close? Is it about
No.
to die? What's going on? You saying it's
These people are like leeches. They're
money?
going to hang on to the very last dollar drops, and then they're going to walk away, or they're going to drive away in their SUVs.
in there? Yeah.
what about a whistleblower such as yourself? It
Yeah,
doesn't do
well,
any good.
Okay, folks, if you're ever going to be a whistleblower,
Now's the time.
you better have overwhelming, convincing evidence. And if you're going to try for any documentary evidence, you got to be a pack rat like I am. I keep copious notes on who said what, where. They call it an it list, and I always have an it list.
Yeah.
But when I went in for my case, I actually had times, dates, what was said, narrative, what was done, the equipment that was there, what paperwork. Oh, they didn't like me at all because I was the data coordinator and I was the senior. At one time, I was the senior audit inspector for aircraft maintenance, so I had access to and I had copies of everything that I needed. But that's far and between. But I would tell most of you people to start keeping a daily journal, especially when you're on the job. Now, I'm an old man now, but when I was in there, they used to have wrongful termination. That ended in the 70s when they just said, that's why when you go to work for Walmart or somebody else, you're not an employee any longer. You're what? You're an associate. That means that you can leave anytime you want, and they can get rid of you anytime you want.
I never heard that before.
Oh yeah, that was the case that marked it, because at one time when you saw a little ad in the paper that said "Start a career with Pet Boys," that indication of start a career meant that you had the expectation to be there at least 3 years or more.
Yeah.
And they used that in court hearings, and they used to nail them on it. So the employers got together. Oh, we can't have that any longer. So you'll never see an ad like that. Would you like to be an associate? Would you like to associate yourself? You can associate yourself. But I talked to, so many people have worked for Walmart, Pet Boys, any of them, I don't know. These little rat bite jobs down there at the bottom of the food train, they're going to get rid of you. I was working for Pet Boys over here in San Bernardino for about 6 months as just a driver. I didn't have to do anything on the retail floor. And yet when I went away, they got rid of me because I wouldn't shake hands with each and every one of the customers. It was like sort of a rote mantra. You were just supposed to. Here was a lady that came in there. She must have been a grandmother, very nicely dressed and everything. And I've got my greasy hands off of these tires. I'm supposed to run up to her and say, "Hi, how are you? My name's Mike." Shake hands, right? Anyway,
Wait till I get this sanitation.
Yeah, well, they got rid of me, but then I came back from Phoenix. As I mentioned, I'm in there. There is absolutely nobody there that I knew. They fired everybody, and that's what they keep doing. They keep churning the stuff over, and you go, even the manager was gone, and he used to work for Auto something, and he came over to Pet Boy. He's gone. Now, I just like to do it when I start with a firm. I like to know who's in charge, what the stock options are, and everything like that. Pet Boys, the guy that runs Pet Boys, you're talking about $1 million a year? This guy gets $49 million a year and a package with it.
Oh, that
and
CEO?
He came from somewhere, one of these other, because auto parts is big business worldwide, But the one thing I wanted to talk about, when you go to these city council meetings, take something to read, make sure you've gone to the bathroom, and have some notes and rehearse what you want to say. And don't forget to use voice inflection and eye-to-eye contact, too. That nails them. I'm a former drill instructor, so I know I just talk down to these people because that's just what they are. Anyway, I've been there one time and they're passing out awards and decorations. So they had a nice bunch of kids coming up there, and they're gonna be the heroes of San Bernardino. They're coming. Each and every one of them's wearing a black T-shirt with an upside down arrowhead, which is, of course, the arrowhead is a part of the San Bernardino logo. Yeah. And in the middle of the arrowhead, the upside-down arrowhead, was the International Communist Raised Fist. Now, these guys were getting an award for what? Picking up paper for a week and a half or something like that? Yeah. And it took, of course, there was about 25 kids. Each one of them had to get an award, a minute each. So there's 25 minutes to 30 minutes burned up for giving these kids an award for picking up paper. Anyway, that's what burns up the time at city council meetings. And I actually got up there and asked them. They asked if there was any questions. I said, do you know what that fist represents and why a fist? None of them had an answer.
Where does this money actually come from?
The money for the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. When they established the Inland Inland Empire Development Agency, that was established by charter, and they added in Highland, San Bernardino City, San Bernardino County. They had, I think it's Redlands.
No longer.
No, okay. Well, one of them, Highland, didn't want voting rights. Anyway, they take a certain percentage of your tax dollars, and it's fed over into the account for the Inland Development Agency. Then they're the ones that parcel it out to the airport authority. But since they're the same people, it's just like one hand handing it to the other.
Well, isn't San Bernardino broke? It just went into bankruptcy.
Well, large you can squeeze tax dollars out of anything. I know that refuge is going up for the water departments.
Yeah.
I know that property taxes are going up. School taxes are going up. Taxes, and there's no longer a tax base. So that's what happened.
But couldn't these cities opt out and say, "I'm not going to throw money away anymore"?
No, not by contract. They can't do that.
I thought you could. I mean, I would, if I were in charge.
They could probably challenge something.
Yeah, if I was city manager somewhere, I'd say.
That would be mismanagement because they would leave the airport high and dry.
Yeah.
They had Spencer, when they had Spencer into a tight bind.
Yeah.
They did make him go out. He found a firm that was going to hire me.
Yeah.
They found a firm back east of New Jersey that ran 8 of the most profitable airports on the East Coast.
Yeah.
These people came out here and they did a survey of that. They said, yeah, we'll run it for Spencer because that's what they were forcing him to do. They were going to push him out of place, and the airport was going to be run by professionals. But Spencer ran off with the money and didn't pay them.
Oh, gee.
As he didn't pay Millennium, which is the other ones out there. Spencer actually embezzled that money, but nobody wants to talk about
Well, it
embezzlement.
looks like, you could turn the spigot off.
Yeah.
That seems the simplest thing. And
don't forget, these people that are on the airport board are mayors as city managers or mayor appointees.
Okay.
So they're getting money.
Money
They can't do
anyway.
that. They wouldn't get their own money, Now, there's one guy out there, I looked him up. He was on the Peace Corps when he was a young man. His wife was also. And this guy was the youngest and highest paid city manager. He came down for Turlock. And anyway, he's still I think he's on the red list. He's always fighting back and forth with one of the other guys over there, the Marine Corps guy, Mike. He gets over $157,000 $1,000 a month or something like that over there for Redlands. I mean, these politicians.
No, they couldn't give them that much.
I'm telling you, you better look it up, but they won't tell you. You go over there, they'll throw you out of City Hall if you ask too many questions.
I know a former city councilman, and I'll ask him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What would work over there? What would work in this nice real estate, this airport? Mike, what would work? What would be
I told him years ago they've got a first-class, world-class maintenance facility over there. They've got specialized hangars because when you work on aircraft nowadays, these high-tailed, large aircraft have to be 85% inside. They can have the tail hanging out a little bit, but they had to modify at a cost of $4 million. They had to modify 4 of the hangar bays over there, and now I don't know what they're charging, but Spencer was charging a lot of money, but Spencer was doing this. He would go out and create a corporation, bring it in under his corporation, charge them too much. They'd file for bankruptcy, and then Spencer, whatever they were supposed to owe him, he was supposed to be paying the airport. He wouldn't pay the airport a damn thing. He didn't pay the airport ever anything for years.
And just took the money and ran.
Well, he was putting the money around there. But that's what the airport is responsible for. But these guys like Jim Rogers just disappear. Oh, he's too old. He resigns.
Well, I, as a taxpayer, kind of resent where that money's going, and it's not doing any good. What do you think, Greg?
I think it's lousy. I think it stinks, and I think there should be a remedy.
Somebody's got to stop it.
Just give a suggestion.
Boom.
Yeah, somebody has to just quit and
say either make it an airport or get off
off and make it a maintenance deal or whatever would work. Or close it and figure it out.
Looks like there's some foreign airline.
What do we have coming up next week?
I invited the Chinese in.
Yeah, they probably would do that. They'd take it all over.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's all right. That's fine. They do. I've got stories about China.
Well, look at Kaiser Steel. They sold their whole plant over there, and they disassembled it. Went to China.
What's up for next week, Lloyd?
I've got Sheila Lowe coming on. She's a world-renowned handwriting analyst.
Wonderful.
And she's going to discuss the presidential candidates and their personality profile. So that should be very interesting.
I think so, too.
So I think you should tune in. We're going to find out who's best suited to become president.
Yes. Sounds good.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate you coming down. And
we're all still mad as hell.
Yeah, all right.
It's just what are you going to do about it?
If you get additional information, be sure to call us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Call in.
Or come in.
And just say hi.
Well, it filters through. So
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and 106.5 FM Yucaipa.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
College football scores coming up in just a minute. Games in action. But first, let's jump to baseball. The World Series is set thanks to this finish between Kansas City and the Jays.
Ground ball third. Moustakis has got it to first. Royals win it. Royals win the series.